Hi. The Qashqai body has no congenital foci of corrosion. It does not rust even the trunk lid under the lining, like many cars. Therefore, traces of corrosion are clear evidence of poor quality body repair. On all Qashqais of the first generation, there are cases of fogging headlights. The tightness of their cases is broken from time to time. This does not even require external mechanical action. So this is normal. If any lamps in the left lamp do not work, then most likely the board has burned out in it. It stands very close to the niche of the body and overheats over time. The original windshield is quite weak. A crack on it can appear even from a small pebble. Most competitors are doing much better with this. After a couple of years of operation, the front wiper trapezoid may fail due to the critical wear of its rods. A simple rule will help to significantly delay this moment. Do not be lazy to remove a pile of snow from the windshield yourself. Do not torment the wipers. The quality of Nissan Qashqai trim elements on pre-reformed cars leaves much to be desired. The steering wheel, paint on plastic parts peel off pretty quickly, and the seat trim is also wiped. Therefore, according to the state of the cabin, it is not so difficult to identify twisted mileage. In the wrist group, the steering column cable of wires, over time it frays. Usually, because of this, the multimedia and cruise control keys, which are located on the steering wheel, fail. Also in this loop are the wires for the driver's airbag and exterior lighting switches. Also, the wiring connectors, which are located at the driver's feet under the front pillar trim, often oxidize and rot. This area requires increased attention in many age models. It accumulates a lot of condensate from evaporation. This is especially pronounced in winter. Connectors connect massive wiring harnesses that hang almost all the electrics of the rear left side of the body, including fuel pump power and external lighting at the stern. Any chain can fail. But even the top bar is still noticeably cheaper than replacing the harnesses. A common occurrence is the failure of the stove fan. It becomes clogged with dirt, the load on the motor increases significantly, and it burns out. Also, sometimes there are cases of combustion of the air conditioning compressor clutch. Fortunately, it is reparable and available as a separate spare part. In the all-wheel drive system, the angular gearbox is characterized by the greatest wear, since its gears rotate constantly during the movement of the car in any transmission mode. Only 400 grams of oil is poured into the assembly, so it is advisable to change it every 30,000 kilometers and monitor the oil seals. Cuffs do not leak so often, but if you miss this moment, the gearbox will fail very quickly. The remaining components of the all-wheel drive transmission do not bother with breakdowns during reasonable operation. For example, the crosses of the cardan shaft wear out only after 100,000 kilometers of run. Front suspension elements require special attention. The rear silent blocks of the front subframe serve only 40,000 kilometers. The good thing is that they are available as separate parts. Even less live the rear silent blocks of the front levers. Ball bearings go a little more. The average resource of the front shock absorbers is about 80,000 kilometers, but their thrust bearings will have to be changed earlier. Sore points of the rear suspension are silent blocks in the breakup levers and their adjustment bolts. On aged machines, rubber metal elements begin to rot and tear. Alas, the camber adjustment bolts also turn sour inside them. In fairness, I note that not only Qashqai suffers from this. Rear shock absorbers regularly serve at least 60,000 kilometers. Qashqai has an electric power steering system with a conventional mechanical rack and controls built into the steering column. Of all the nodes, the rig delivers the main trouble, which begins to knock after 60,000 kilometers of run. A lot of dirt gets into the rear brake calipers, which is why they turn sour. The reason is the unfortunate location and ill-conceived design of the nodes. It is very important to do preventive maintenance of the brake mechanisms with each replacement of the pads. The 1.6 petrol engine of the HR16DE series has been time-tested and well known for many models of the Renault-Nissan concern. The motor has a good reputation and does not cause much trouble. Qashqai with this engine with a margin overcome the bar of 200,000 kilometers. The timing chain is usually changed during the overhaul of the unit. The average resource of the rear support of engines 1.6 and 2.0 is only 30,000 to 40,000 kilometers. Its destruction will immediately herald a significant increase in the level of vibrations in the body. Also, on both motors, the hinged belt surrenders quite quickly. At the same time, his videos live longer. But the rollers cannot be changed as an assembly, but only their bearings can be updated. The radiator of engines 1.6 and 2.0 suffers from corrosion. On machines older than 5 to 7 years, it can lead to node leaks. The 2.0 gasoline engine of the MR20DE series is also known for many models of the concern, but is not as reliable as the younger 1.6. The MR20DE engine features a thin-walled cylinder head. Even with a small constriction of spark plugs, their wells can crack. As a result, antifreeze will get into the oil. In addition, menders sometimes encounter factory defects in heads, microcracks. They make themselves known only during operation. The cylinder block also has thin walls, so the engine does not tolerate overheating very well. In addition, the phenomenon of deformation of the fourth cylinder is common when servicemen slightly over-tighten the bolts securing the box to the engine when installing it. When the engine overheats, the mating surfaces of the head and block often warp, and sometimes even cracks appear on the crankshaft journals. The Jatco CVT of the JF015E series was installed in tandem with a 1.6 engine. For the sake of reducing the dimensions, this unit was equipped with a two-stage planetary gear. The first stage operates at speeds up to 100 km/h, and then the second is activated. The design turned out to be very intricate and capricious. On average, the resource of this variator rarely exceeds 100,000 kilometers, and many problems can begin after 20,000 kilometers. First of all, the JF015E wears out the cone bearings and their seats in the variator housing. Metal chips are carried throughout the entire hydraulic system, clogging the solenoids in the hydraulic unit and the pressure-reducing valve in the oil pump. The oil pressure drops, and this finally finishes off the variator. Also, the JF015E quickly wears out the internal elements in the cones that are responsible for their movement. They produce an additional destructive volume of metal chips. The belt formally has a decent resource. However, due to a drop in oil pressure in the hydraulic system, it begins to slip and actively wear out. Repair of the JF015E variator is expensive. At the same time, it lasts for a short time, no matter how professional the master is. Therefore, servicemen are advised to buy a new variator. Buying a contract unit is very dangerous. No one will guarantee that this capricious design will live long enough. The variator of the JF011E series is on Qashqai with a 2.0 engine. This is a very famous unit that was installed on many models of the Renault-Nissan concern, as well as on Mitsubishi cars. JF011E is still in use today. Paired with a 2.0 engine, this CVT has an average resource of 150,000 to 200,000 kilometers. JF011E has no characteristic weaknesses. In old age, he has a natural critical wear of the main elements, cone bearings, valves in the hydroblock, oil pump. The JF011E variator is subject to repair. To prolong the life of any variator, it is important to periodically change the oil in it. For example, Jatco recommends doing this every 30,000 kilometers in heavy-duty applications such as urban traffic. It is also important to keep the unit's external cooling radiator clean. Manual transmissions have proven themselves very well. Miscellaneous breakdowns are associated solely with inadequate operation and are not of a systemic nature. The 5-speed box relies on the 1.6 engine and the 2.0 engine 6-speed. If you know of other breakdowns or malfunctions, then tell us about it in the comments. Your review can help others when choosing a used car.